Hey friends, wow, we're at that time of year again. Can you believe it? It's the perfect moment to pause, breathe, and reflect on the year that's just about to close. I know you're busy. I know you have a lot going on between balancing your coaching practice, content creation, and everything else you have in your life. But I want to invite you to join me today in taking some time for you and your future business growth. This is the first part of a two-part series on year-end planning for entrepreneurs. In this episode today, we're going to dive into the end of the year reflection, how to look back on what worked, what didn't work, and how to gather all those valuable lessons so you can move forward into the new year with clarity and purpose. Next time in part 2, we'll be all about visioning and planning, creating that clear and aligned plan for an amazing year ahead. Now, before we dive into reflection, let's talk about something I know can be a real struggle for many of us: planning. For some, planning can come naturally, but for others, it can feel overwhelming, daunting, and frankly, easy to resist. Planning takes time, focus, and attention. It asks us to sit down, organize your thoughts, and really get clear about what we want, and that can feel like a lot, right? It's easy to procrastinate or avoid the process altogether. Sometimes it feels simpler to just fly by the seat of your pants and deal with things as they come along. I get it. But here's the thing. Having a plan in place will make all the difference between feeling scattered and feeling steady. It's what takes you from reacting to life's demands to proactively creating the life and business you want. I want to share a bit about my background here. My specialty is in becoming a consistent content creator, repurposing content and setting up those content systems. This comes from my background as a certified online business manager, and I can tell you, there's real power in having systems and plans in place. It not only gives you focus, but also gives you that freedom to be more creative and impactful in your work. So as we move into this time of reflection, I want you to let go of any resistance you might have around planning. I want you to take a deep breath and know that this is the moment just for you. There's no right or wrong. It's just a chance to get clear and prepare for something amazing ahead. So I want you to grab your journal, or if you would like, I have a planning freebie. I'll go ahead and put the link down in the show notes that walks you through all of this. And of course, a cup of coffee or your favorite cozy beverage, and let's dive into this time of reflection together. I want to start by talking about why reflection is so important. It's easy to keep moving, right? You feel like you're doing something that way, to jump into the next big thing without taking that beat to understand what happened over the last 12 months. But reflection is like pressing the pause on a movie. You get to zoom in on the details you may have missed when everything was moving so quickly. Reflection isn't about dwelling on what went wrong. It's about celebrating what went right and finding ways to keep growing. So let's begin by celebrating your wins. Think back over the last year. What were some of the wins that you experienced in your business, in your life? I want you to think about all of those things. And I want you to think beyond just that big milestone thing. Sometimes the small wins mean the most. So if you have a win jar or a win journal, or you just keep track of these things on your day-to-day in your planner, pull that out so you can reference it. Did you launch a new offer, a new coaching package, a new coaching group? Did you finally hit publish on a blog post that you've been putting off because you felt too vulnerable to do it? Did you reach out to that dream client who ended up loving your coaching program? No win at all is too small. No win is too big. I want you to write them all out. And I want you to celebrate this progress. It's funny, we often give ourselves such a hard time over what we didn't accomplish. But right now, I want you to give yourself some serious credit for everything you did do. If you're listening to this while you're out and about, I want you to download this episode to allow you time to actually pause and reflect as you go through it and listen to it. So go ahead and pause this podcast right now so you can do some serious reflection on your wins. Okay, friend, now that you've got your list of wins in front of you, let's look at the lessons. I want you to consider what helped make those wins possible. Was it consistency? Maybe a new habit you started and you're so proud of yourself for that? Or a change in your mindset that made all the difference? We're digging for gold here. By recognizing what made those wins happen, we're getting clues for what we should double down on next year. And one of my wins, and this is a huge win for me, is my cholesterol levels. I've had high cholesterol now for many years and actually reached the point of 300 this last year. And I went into a functional medicine doctor, and through a plant-based diet, I took my cholesterol from being 300 to 162. For me, that was huge. All right, now that we've celebrated, let's just shift that focus now to the challenges, because we all have challenges. It's our thing we like to focus on, right? All the things we wish we should have, could have, would have done. But what didn't go as planned this past year? We all had those moments, the launches that didn't go the way we thought it would, the projects that got pushed back, or maybe the time when you just felt overwhelmed and exhausted. I don't want you to look at these challenges as failure, friend. Instead, think of them as learning experiences. Take a minute to jot down those moments that felt hard to you. What were some of the things that didn't work out how you had hoped they would? And here's the question I love to ask myself. What could I have done differently? It's not about beating yourself up. It's about finding areas of growth. If you look at that challenge from a place of curiosity, what comes up for you? I want you to be super curious when you're going through this. For instance, I had a project that didn't go quite as planned because I spread myself too thin. I wanted to tackle everything at once. I learned that focusing on one major thing per quarter is where I thrive. So I took that lesson, and now I remind myself, more focus, less overwhelm. I talk about it with building bridges. If you're going to build 3 bridges at one time, it's going to take you a really long time to do it, and you will feel overwhelmed. But if you just build one at a time, it's so much easier, and it happens so much quicker because you're just focused in on that one thing. One more thing I want us to reflect on is distractions. Because as entrepreneurs, let's be real, distractions are everywhere. Did you stick to your goals this year, or did you find yourself hopping around from one shiny thing to another shiny thing because you're just like, this is going to be the thing that works for me. This one's going to work for me. The other one didn't work for me, because you're pushing so hard to get to that next place and you're not actually pausing to enjoy the process. It happens to all of us. It's easy just to get pulled off course by your new ideas, your unexpected opportunities, or just the demands of your everyday life. And sometimes those distractions are necessary pivots, but sometimes they're just that, just distractions. So take a moment to identify what pulled you away from your goals this year. Was it a shiny object? Or was it something that genuinely needed your attention? Understanding where your focus went is so powerful because it helps you to realign for the next year. And now it's time to take a look at your numbers. I know this part isn't always the most fun, but numbers tell a story that we can't ignore. How many clients did you serve this past year? What did your profit and expenses look like? How many people joined your email list? How was your website traffic? And I just want to pivot back 1 second to your profit and your expenses, because one thing that I find with service-based and heartfelt entrepreneurs is they don't necessarily always price their courses or their coaching right to be able to be profitable and successful. So you need to actually look, did you set yourself up for success with the amount that you were charging for your services to meet those expenses? And if not, then you either need to reduce your expenses or you need to increase your rates. When you dig into those metrics, you can find the stories and opportunities. I had a client recently who felt so down about a launch. She thought it was a failure. But when we looked at her numbers, we found that her conversion rate was actually great. The problem wasn't her program, It was that her traffic was low, and knowing that gave her a clear action step for next time. Focus on bringing more people into the launch. So building up your email list before your next launch is exactly what she needed to do in this situation. So that could be either running ads, or if you're not into running ads, like how can you be just trying to build your email list for a whole quarter in order to up the amount of people that you can convert? I hope that makes sense. So I want you to be honest with your numbers, but also be curious. What are they telling you about your business this past year? All right, friends, we've gone through a lot today. We've celebrated wins, we've dug into the challenges, and we've examined the distractions, and we've gotten real with our numbers. This reflection is the foundation you need before you start planning for the next year. Reflection brings clarity, and clarity is what guides you in creating an incredible plan for your upcoming year about understanding where you've been so you can move forward with purpose. I want you to take some time after this episode, maybe later today, maybe this weekend, to really sit with these reflections. Write them out, let them sit on the page, and let them guide you. And remember, this is just part one of our journey. In the next episode, we're going to take those reflections and turn them into actions. We'll talk all about setting goals, creating a vision, and making sure next year is set up for success in a way that feels aligned and intentional for you. Remember, the work you're doing is important, not just for your clients, but for you. And when you take care of yourself, when you take the time to reflect, you can serve from a place of true purpose. If you found this reflection helpful, I'd love for you to share this episode with a fellow coach or entrepreneur who might need some encouragement, and be sure to join me next time where we'll plan an amazing year ahead. And if you're ready to take that planning even deeper, I do offer a 90-minute one-on-one SMART goal planning session along with a week of Voxer support to help kick off the new year with clarity and purpose. I do only offer this one time a year, so be sure to grab that if you need that little extra help and guidance through creating your goals and truly aligning with your vision. Then take care of yourself, reflect deeply, and keep moving on, friend. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you, and I hope you make it a wonderful week. Yay! Thank you so much for listening. I hope that you found this episode valuable and learned some actionable tips that you can implement in your business so that you can feel accomplished and less stressed. If you enjoyed this show, please take a quick minute to share this with your business bestie, subscribe, and leave a review. It helps me reach more business owners just like you. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like me to cover in future episodes, please reach out to me on my website. I've created a form just for you. Remember, with the right system and mindset, you can achieve the success your heart desires. Thank you for tuning in. I look forward to chatting with you next time. I appreciate you, and I hope you have a wonderful week. And don't forget, let's grow, friends.